and welcome to my review of the Sisters of Battle Immolator. It's right here. I've pretty much completed it. One of these models will set you back £45, which makes it the third most expensive unit in the Sisters of Battle army. The Triumph of St. Catherine and the Battle Sanctum are jointly the most expensive at £65. Then you've got the Exorcist at £50, and then for £5 less you've got this Immolator. Straight away I will say that I enjoyed making the Exorcist a little bit more than this Immolator for a number of reasons. I love the organ, I love the missiles, I love the little orders around the big cupola thing it's got, but that's not saying that this model isn't fun. Is it worth the £45 though? I think it is, but only just. It would be better if it was priced at 35 or 40, of course. You are getting all new parts in this kit. It shares exactly the same kind of chassis as the Exorcist. It's got that same new Sisters of Battle Rhino sprue, which the Sisters of Battle Rhino doesn't have, which is odd. You're getting a lot of detail on the top. You've got specific parts to this model compared to the Exorcist and the Rhino as well. First of all, let's have a detailed look at it. I'll show you the spare parts, we'll go through some size comparisons, and then we'll go through all of the rules. So straight away, it's a good looking tank. I do like it. You might have already noticed that I put this on. I haven't glued it, don't freak out. You can detach that at the moment, and I will paint that separately before obviously gluing it on there permanently. These are just some of the spare parts here that will help this shield, this stained glass window shield thing, give it some support. I think these go in there like so, and then this just supports into the glass itself, but you're going to have to do these separately at some point, but I've left them off just for the moment. Glued the Hunter Killer missile on, I've glued the Cherub on. You don't need to glue the Cherub on, there's not a fixing point at all, so you can leave that off if you don't want a Cherub on your tank. You've got the heavy bolter here, which moves from side to side. Would be nice if they had flamers on these tanks, especially this one, have another flamer, so have three immolation flamers, but yeah, never mind. That might take up its transport capability, I'm not sure. But what is interesting is this front, I want to say dozer blade, not really a dozer blade, it's more of like a bull bar type appendage on the front of the tank. It looks very ornate, doesn't look as functional. It just looks like a bit of a gate, the top of a gate that you'd put on the front of a tank. I'd say it's kind of less functional as the Exorcist one in a way. You've got these lovely braziers, I think they're called, on the tops of the exhausts. You've got the beautiful Rhino chassis, the Sisters of Battle Rhino chassis, with the little statues in and the different doors. You've got the fleur-de-lis icons, many places on this tank. You've got a very detailed back door, which you can't open, unfortunately. That sucks. You've got little attention to details, like you've got one, like little rose there on the tank track, a bit like what they do with the Land Raider, putting the Aquila on there. The tank has this kind of relic kind of thing on the back with a load of candles. I like that. That's going to be a pain to get in there and paint the candles now though, but that's quite cool that they've got like a little shrine at the back. The sister herself, yeah, I know that's going to be a pain to get in there and paint her too. She's got a load of knobs in there to pull on that operate the flamers, or as I found out, you can kind of wiggle them out and then wiggle one in. So this is magnetisation on a budget. By budget I mean you don't have to buy any magnets. You can just keep the different weapon in, and once it's painted as well, they'll stick in there even better. But if you want that extra security, there's enough space in there and in the weapons themselves to put a very small magnet in, and then you can magnetise them, which is brilliant, which is kind of what I was expecting for this model and hoping for the model, that you could interchange the turret weapons. Now, I mean, I still want to get a second one, but now my motivation's dropped a little bit, because I can now swap the weapons midway. I don't feel the need to buy another £45 little transport, as much as if you had to glue these in, but I think I will still get another one, change the head, don't have the cherub on there, maybe forgo the hunter killer, or even put it on the other side. I don't know, but it is a glorious, beautiful model in my opinion. You can also put the multi-melters in there too. I think, yeah, they go up that way. There are a fair few mould lines in this model, in places, especially on these weapon parts, and it's always worth noting that before you put any of the extras on, to just give the sides a bit of a file, so that you don't get gaps in the chassis. But it went together really well, very tight. I'd probably say tighter than the Exorcist itself. We'll see how the Rhino goes, but yeah, I was impressed by how tight this went together. You can remove the cupola thing if you wish. I did have a comment, the unboxing, I think, of whether you could use this as a Rhino. Well, for a start, you've got this forward firing heavy bolter, which makes it stand out. You've got this shrine at the back. If Games Workshop had created a round hatch thing to put this on that had a big fleur-de-lis icon, then yeah, you could, I guess. But as it stands, no, without making your own rounded thing that goes on there. This specifically is for this model and goes on. It does have some degree of movement, but it gets trapped on these gate things at the back. So just bear that in mind. When you're moving it about, it only has a certain fire and arc. But I'm not going to glue it in position. I'm going to leave it like that. So whenever you see it, you might see it in a different firing position, which is great. The cherub, yeah, there's a fair few bits of detail on there. I mean, the Exorcist, obviously you get two cherubs and you get loads of missiles and things like that. But yeah, overall I was impressed with the model. I'd probably say it's just about worth it. I'll show you the other spare parts. So we'll put the flamer back on. I think it goes on that way. So yes, you get the multi-melters, you get the heavy bolters, you get the supports for the stained glass heat shield thing, you get 3 extra heads, which technically you could use on any Sisters. Let's zoom in for these. So you got this lady, you got this one with a bit of a smirk on her face, and then you've got this one with quite hefty fringe. So nice looking, helmetless heads, and for this instance, I just like the helmeted one, or the cap one, with the mask. I thought it was quite appropriate at the moment. And you get these odd things as well, these two things, but all these are for the front sort of bull bar thing. If you had an Exorcist, you'd use these on that set of bars on the front of the tank. So that's where they come from. Okay then, let's show you some size comparisons. So first of all, I want to just show you a comparison with the Exorcist. Now this tank is £5 more, and in a way it kind of makes it look like a better value. But I still think both these tanks are very expensive anyway, considering what Land Raiders are the same price. Yes, of course, this has lots more detail and lots more going on than a Land Raider, but still, that's a comparison I'm making. And it is a very harsh one to make because the Land Raider's, over 20 years old now, so a bit of an old kit. But yeah, if this had come out when the Land Raider came out in this amount of detail, yeah, it would have been the same price or not more. So it works out in the end. The similarities here then are that it shares exactly the same chassis. The same sort of side armour plating is on there too, like on the sides and stuff. The same little statues and the doors and the braziers are all the same. The back ramp is the same details. The main difference is this top section. Even the front is the same. except for the front bull bar thing. So it's just this top weapon area that is different. For the Immolator, you're getting these immolation flamers and a little shrine at the back and a cherub and this lovely stained glass window, and a lady sat in a chair with quite a very tall back on it. And then in the Exorcist, you're getting this Sister of Battle kind of higher up, prime to be headshotted, with not much protection at all. You get a couple of cherubs. You get this big. You get I'd say an equal amount of detail for a shrine there. It's got like a reliquary or whatever you want to call it, with some roses, and then you get some statues that flank the big organ missile launcher thing, and yeah, you get the two cherubs, which are optional, but you still get the same smoke launchers and the same chassis with the same foot side skirts for the tank too. Same hunter killer missile launcher as well. So they do share a lot of similarities. They've got the same Rhino chassis, the new Rhino chassis, in both of the kits. It's just that extra sprue that makes the turret for the Immolator and that makes the big Exorcist missile launcher for the Exorcist. So I hope that's been an in-depth comparison between those two tanks. I haven't built the Rhino yet, but I do have a Chaos Rhino, and yeah, it's going to be very similar. It will be exactly the same size as the Rhino, but with extra bits and pieces on. And I'll do a full comparison with these two tanks in the Rhino review heading to the channel at some point, and I'll do a comparison with other Rhinos such as the Space Marine Rhino as well, and this Chaos one. So I'll be a bit of a Rhino review. Okay, compared to other models then, I do have a normal Sisters of Battle, so that's how it holds up with that. You can imagine 5 of these, or 6. You can easily imagine 6 of these bundling in that tank. No issues there. Next to a Penitent engine, or sorry, Anchorite in this case. That's how it holds up. It's a fairly largish tank, I would say. You know, it definitely is bigger than a Rhino, and has a lot more to offer. And then I've got Saint Celestine. Why not? Compared to this Immolator. 2 of these Immolators would absolutely wreck face. I think they look really good in an army. And then compared to Space Marines, I've got a normal Space Marine on the left and a Primaris on the right. So that gives you an idea of where it sort of falls with Imperium models. And then the very final comparison I want to make is with one of the most newest transports, another one that can hold 6, which is this Impulsor. Right here, give you a bit of a comparison there. I mean, on this, the Impulse actually looks quite big, really. When you compare them here, if you look at them that way. So there you go, I hope those size comparisons have helped. So this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Sisters of Battle Immolator. You'll find it way back in the back of the book after the Rhino. It's in the transport section. They've only got 2 transports in the army. The Immolator will cost you a power points cost of a 5 and a points cost of 70. You do have to take the Immolation Flamers, which are an extra 30, which is 100 points, and the Heavy Bolter is another 10. So you're looking at 110 points stock. If you want that Hunter Killer Missile Launcher, you're going to have to pay another 6 points. If you want to change the Immolation Flamers, you're going to save 13 points and they're going to only cost you 17. If you want the Twin Multi-Melter, it's going to cost you 40. So that's the priciest version, is this equipped with the Hunter Killer, Twin Multi-Melters and the Heavy Bolter. That's the priciest version you can go for. So its stat line, it's one of these vehicles, when it suffers damage, the characteristics change. So it starts off with 10 wounds, and if it's got between 6 and 10, its movement speed is 12 inches, its ballistic skill 3+, and its attacks are 3. If it's got between 3 and 5 wounds, its movement speed is 6 inches, ballistic skill 4+, and attacks D3. And then between 1 and 2 wounds, it's got a movement speed of 3 inches, ballistic skill 5+, and only 1 attack. All of that works exactly the same as a Rhino. Its weapon skill is 6+, its strength is 6, its toughness is 7, its wounds are 10, its leadership 8, and a save of 3+. Again, exactly the same characteristic as a Rhino. Now, where it changes is it's armed with the heavy weapons. Well, the Immolation Flamers are assault weapons, but still, it's equipped with Immolation Flamers and Heavy Bolter. Now, Heavy Bolters work as normal. You can have the twin Heavy Bolters along with that Heavy Bolter, so that you get a total of 9, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1 shots. With the twin multi-melter, you reduce that range to 24 inches and it becomes heavy 2, but it bumps up the strength to 8 and AP -4 and damage D6. And also if you're within half range, so if you're 12 inches or less, then you roll 2d6 when inflicting the damage and disregard one of the results. Now, the Immolation Flamers, which are only on this vehicle, are specific to the Immolator and to Sisters of Battle. The range is 12 inches, so quite short range. Assault 2d6 though, and strength 5, AP -1 and a damage of 1. And when resolving attack made by this weapon do not make a hit roll, it automatically scores a hit. But super, how does that actually compare to a normal heavy flamer, I hear you ask? Well, normal heavy flamer is only 8 inches, not 12, so you're missing out on 4 inches there. And a heavy flamer is a heavy D6 weapon type, whereas these Immolation Flamers are assault 2d6. They can always fire when this thing moves. But the rest of the stat line remains the same. I would have liked an extra strength or an extra AP or some kind of extra special rule other than a longer range and a characteristic and a weapon type change. I feel that that would have bumped it up a bit more. Something like Bathed in Flame or Firestorm or something like that. When 2 or more or 3 immolators all fire at the same unit with their Immolation Flamers, then they create like a Firestorm. I think that would have been quite creative, but they've missed out on doing that. So war gear options, as I've mentioned already, can be equipped with one of the following instead of Immolation Flamers, so twin Heavy Bolter or twin multi-melter, and also model can be additionally equipped with 1 Hunter Killer Missile. It's got all the same abilities as a Rhino, except it doesn't have self-repair. It's got Axe of Faith, Sacred Rites and Shield of Faith, so it's getting that invulnerable save. It can explode, and that works the same as a Rhino, so you roll 1d6, and on a 6 it explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. It has the smoke launchers too, whereby once per battle, instead of shooting in your shooting phase, model can use its smoke launchers at the start of the next shooting phase, and when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against this model, you subtract 1 from the hit roll. Transport wise then, it has a transport capacity of 6 Adeptus Ministorum infantry models. It cannot transport jump pack models and can only transport Adeptus Sororitas models if they have the Order, Dialogus or Hospitaler keywords. Speaking of keywords, this one it has the Imperium, Adeptus Ministorum, Adeptus Sororitas, Vehicle and Transport Immolator. So there you go. When all said and done, it's almost twice the points cost, almost, a little bit less than twice the points cost of a Rhino. And for that, you're getting a little bit more than half the transport capacity, but you are getting technically 3 heavy weapons, if you want to look at it that way. You know, you're getting your Immolation Flamers or your twin Heavy Bolters, and you're getting that front Heavy Bolter, but you're foregoing 4 Sisters to be able to transport. So it's up to you whether you think that's worth it. If you really need a squad of 10, like 10 Sisters Repentia, then clearly the Rhino is the way to go. But if you need this transport to have a squad of 5 Celestians with a Canoness, or 5 Retributors or something like that, then yeah, this is probably the best way to go. You can imagine this rolling up, having that effective range of 24 inches with the Flamers, spewing out 5 retributors armed with heavy flamers and just, yeah, letting rip into a horde army. But apart from all of the rule side of things, I think this model just looks cool. I really like the stained glass window thing. I'm going to enjoy putting some glazes and things to pick out the detail on that. And it really is a lovely addition to the Sisters of Battle army, as much as Triumph of St. Catherine, as much as the Exorcist. All these 3 kind of biggish models really add to the army. I only wish they'd gone one step further and employed this Sisters of Battle chassis to the standard Sisters of Battle Rhino, but once I've built that and I've compared it, I'll give you my full take on it. I also would have liked to have seen the Redeemer. I would have also liked to have seen the Repressor. I don't know whether it would have worked based on this chassis. I think it needs a bit of a longer chassis because it can transport, I think, 12 models or probably more, and they can all fire out of the sides of it, as and it's a little bit less heavily armed, but it is more heavily armoured. Forgewell used to make it. I don't think you can pick one up anymore. It would have been a great opportunity to create something brand new for the Sisters of Battle rather than just like new models for existing units. It would have been a great opportunity to do that brand new, like the Battle Sanctum really. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Immolator? Please do put it in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.